Gemini, this is your week ahead astrology forecast by Born Without Boundaries Tarot here on Astrology Motivation. Welcome everybody. In this video, we're going to go over the major planetary aspects and transits and how they relate and impact your natal suns for this week. This is the week of May 25th through May 31st of 2023. And I'm going to start with the broad things, those things that everybody should kind of be aware of. And then we're going to get into what Gemini specifically should be focusing on. And then I'll break it down into your specific natal suns by breaking things down into the decans, which is a group of 10 degrees that will make different angles to different planets. And those angles are what astrologers derive the aspects from. And the aspects are how things are going to be impacting your life. So if you don't know where your natal sun is located in terms of the degrees, that's okay. You don't need to. I would recommend that you go and get your natal chart. It's free. You can get them done many websites online. You need your birth date, which you already have, your birth time, and your birth location. But once you have all that information, you plug it in. And it comes out in a couple of seconds, and it's just the best way to begin your journey into astrology. But like I said, for this video, you can enjoy it just by knowing your birth date, because I will be giving estimates of the correlating birth dates that relate to the degrees on the zodiac wheel. So let's start with the big stuff, okay? There's no major planetary transits that are happening this week, but there is a major planetary aspect that's been happening since last week, and it's still happening this week, and that is Pluto is opposite Mars, and it is square to Jupiter. So Jupiter is also square to Mars, and Jupiter is conjunct the North Node in Taurus, so it is opposite the South Node. So there's a big grand cross in the sky. What this is an impasse, but I really feel it's a compression because Pluto is involved and Mars is involved and Jupiter is involved and the nodes are involved. This is a stuckness, a compression that's happening to basically explode the stuck out of the situation. This relentless push toward the future, even if it's not comfortable or even if people don't like it. So there is something that has been really clogging up the works, and that is going to either explode or implode. I don't know what this means politically, or at least I'm not going to discuss it here because that's not what this video is about. All I can tell you is the undertones of the rumbling, the undertones of, since Pluto is involved, hidden things that sort of need to be exposed and brought to the surface, and the expansion and growth of Jupiter sitting on the North Node, insisting on the future focused, moving forward. It's going to suck that clog right out, even if it has to take and bust the pipes with it. So that's kind of the relentlessness that's in the air now, but also frustration, because for right now, there's a stuckness to it. By the end of this week, Mars will actually move on a little deeper into Leo. And so we won't have Mars opposite Pluto anymore, but Venus will come in and take its place. So it'll be more focused, less on energy intensity and more on value systems and what we value and who we value, financial issues, financial situations, and even traditions and different patterns, because it is in the fourth house in Cancer. So it's really what we've come from, where we've come from. So sort of this explosion forward, a big rupture over that next week. But we'll talk about that next week. Mercury is in Taurus, and this is what I want to talk. Oh, no, let's go back just a second. So by the 31st of this week, Pluto will be no longer opposite Mars. It will be opposite to Venus. So by the end of this week, we'll start to feel Pluto doubling down specifically on those financial systems or those relationships, endings that have to come to that kind of momentum or those kind of situations in our lives. Endings, Pluto is about destruction and it is about endings, but it's also about clearing out the field for new beginnings. So clearly there's something here that almost needs to be cleared up and clarified. And Venus at that point will also be now square to Jupiter. So it's almost like it's getting this roto-rooter purge. It's happened to Mars and now it's happening to Venus. So by the end of this week. We also, for most of this week, have Pluto trine to the sun. So there is some secrets being brought to light, darkness coming about and returning back to life. This sense of the resurrection. That's the way that I see Pluto trine the sun. When the butterfly can emerge from the cocoon as the caterpillar. So I think there's an optimistic upswing this week, at least the way things ending up. But ultimately it will be, there is an intensity in the air and a looming kind of pop. You can almost feel it. It's like a pimple under your skin. You know it has to pop. You can't wait for it. That's so if you're feeling that in the air, you know why. Let's get into Mercury. I like to pay attention to Mercury for you guys because it's your ruling dignitary and it impacts you. Always look at what your ruling dignitary is doing or how it's interacting, and I will give you its aspects this week. It's not transiting right now. It's still in Taurus. It's been in Taurus for a long time because of the retrograde. By this time, it is good and totally clear of the retrograde energy. It's actually starting to pick up its momentum and move as fast as it usually does. So if you feel like you're back online now, it's because of that. There are a few aspects, though, that you should be aware of. So the specifics for Mercury this week are Mercury is moving between 9 degrees and 15 degrees Taurus. That's once again picking up its speed. It's moving 6 degrees in the week. It moves a little faster than that, but we can see it starting to gain its momentum again. So if you feel some of your energy, at least in your mental acuity, is coming back online, that's why it's happening. We have a kind of a weak semi-square to Neptune this week. So there's challenges to deception and brain fog. There's a little bit of, I wrote this down, distracted by doubt or hard to have faith in things. As you're coming back online, it could be that, especially involving personal situations about how people acted or treated you when you were vulnerable. So there is a little bit of I wouldn't say bitterness. I would say doubt. This sense of questioning reality, or giving everything its healthy dose of doubt at first. It's a little bit of a defense mechanism. Logic is clashing with faith. In this sense of, what do I have faith in, or does it deserve me to have faith in it? So if you're going through those questions in your mind, it's because of this kind of semi-square irritation between Mercury and Neptune, which will pass basically by the end of this week. So let's get into Gemini specific, the suns. So the first decan of Gemini is the first 10 degrees of the Gemini zodiac sign. So if your natal sun is located between 0 and 9 degrees Gemini, you're Gemini 1. This correlates to the calendar dates of basically May Geminis. So May 22nd through maybe the 30th, or I don't think May has 31 days. Yeah, 31 days. So the first 10 days of Gemini season, if you're born in that time span, you are a Gemini 1. Your natal suns are conjunct the current sun. This brings a sense of courage and confidence. Could also bring a sense of, look at me, I need attention. So depending on how you use that energy, it could be either good or bad. But there's a lot of other helpful things going on. Your natal suns are also sextile to Mars. This week, that means, along with that confidence, this sense of really finding yourself and finding your energy, especially your physical presence, and finding your stride. This is a great time to start new exercise routines, new physical disciplines. This is a great time to really get into your body and really use your body energy to help cleanse your soul and show yourself just how courageous and brave you can be. Not necessarily physically, but in general, it's almost like a a battery charging, like keep charging the battery, right? So that you have that energy in store. It's like solar powered energy. That's kind of your life right now, finding your natural energy stores and being able to really use them and use that momentum. And then we also have long-term aspects. So your long-term aspects are the sextile to Neptune, square to Saturn, and trine to Pluto. This means exceptional energy for creativity and moving forward through that creativity and changing your life, like reinventing what you are, what you do for a living, or kind of finding your stride when it comes to not necessarily invention, but using your words creatively, confronting falsehoods, creatively confronting falsehoods. And that could be through blogs, it could be through written word, it could be through speaking out. It's just creatively confronting fantasy and fiction. Also a sense of going up against authority, going up against finding that you're having a little difficulty, at least in the next year, when it comes to work or your work situation, because you're dealing with, almost fantastical issues, like this sense of why would people even think that way, or because you're thinking so outside of the box, it clashes with the norm, it clashes with the standard and the status quo. So you could be dealing with a lot of personality clashes because of that over the next year. But that trine to Pluto suggests that you're part of the change, you're part of the dynamic expansion. So there is this, there is that sense of, you will clash with the norm. That's to be expected for the next year, because systems won't be changing fast enough, or the systems won't be in place fast enough to know how to work within them. So will it be frustrating? Yes, but I think ultimately it will be extremely worth it. Gemini 2s. So if your birthday is between, I would say May 30th to June 9th, you are Gemini 2s. And this is a pretty light week for you, except that you will feel the frustration on all sides. You absolutely will, but your natal suns are sextile to Chiron. And that's a long-term sextile. So this is about healing from suffering and pain that you've been through. This is about finding new opportunities after the struggle, after the pain, after the tragedies that have happened to you, learning from them, being able to take opportunities based on what you've learned, or create opportunities based on what you've learned and what you've been put through. So Chiron is in Aries. A lot of this could be physical, but it doesn't have to be. A lot of it could be also about your identity, about who you see yourself as, and learning if those have been challenged, or if that has been challenged, disrupted, hurt, or injured, a sense of being able to come back from that now and find inspiration from it and find a way to expand and teach others by what you've been through. And this is an ongoing aspect. And so the past couple of years of your life, and the next two, could absolutely be this theme, this reoccurring theme. But nothing this week is particularly directly aspecting your natal suns. So just understand that there's going to be that tension on either side, because there is that buildup of energy in Taurus, and of course we have in Cancer, we have Venus, but those are sort of too close to real. Frustrating. It could be very frustrating energy, just because what you feel on either side, just a sense. And then we have Gemini 3s. So Gemini 3s, you have long-term transits, right? But right now they're extremely activated. You have a square to Neptune, which can be this dissonance between your logical mind and your fantastical self, or challenges to your faith, challenges to why should I have faith, and do I have faith anymore? Neptune square your natal sun could be very distractible, very lost in fantasy. It's easier to sort of bamboozle you or hoodwink you, especially if somebody's telling you something that you want to hear. That's a good time for skepticism, because if it sounds too good to be true, it is. And definitely ask somebody else's opinion. Not somebody with a birthday around yours, but ask for an external opinion if you think, oh, this is too good to be true, because generally it is. It can be very creative energy, and so that's a great way to channel and funnel those distractions in your mind through your creativity. And that would be a great way to use that energy, and it could actually help you in the long run. There's also, if you are at the cusp between Gemini and Cancer. So this would only be Geminis that are born, say, like June 20th, June 21st. You guys, your natal suns are quincunx to Pluto, so there's frustration in change. And this change is happening to you whether you like it or not. And it could be because of that square to Neptune, that sense of you thought it was going to be more ideal, or you thought things were more ideal, and they're not. Because Pluto is going to be honest and blunt with you. It's not going to be nice. So these changes are actually making you confront some potential delusions that you've had, and see truth in situations that could be very frustrating and upsetting. And this is over the next couple of years. This week and for the next couple of weeks, Jupiter is sextile to your natal sun. So that means this week, next week, if you are on the Gemini Cancer cusp, June maybe 19th, 20th, 21st, you guys in particular are blessed with Jupiter's expansion and growth and luck. And Jupiter is in Taurus, so this could be financial value systems. This could be luxury. It could even be in a sense of opportunities to enjoy yourself, opportunities to enjoy your life. With those other placements, I would try to not overindulge or overspend, because with this opportunity, you could get a lot of advancement. You could get a lot of money coming in, but the rush of optimism could also make you waste it really quickly. So anything that you gain over the next couple of weeks, be sure that it's well invested or well saved or well cared for. Just an FYI. I love you guys. And yes, I'm thinking that it could also be that you have a lot of time to indulge, right? In those, like, especially food and stuff that you really like and that gives you pleasure. It could be a overindulgence. Just an FYI. It is generally one of the best astrological aspects, Jupiter sextile the sun. So this is just expansion and growth that happens to you and comes to you naturally. So it will be positive things coming to you. Make it last. Don't waste it, because of those two other long-term aspects. You could blow really easily whatever comes to you now. So it's about nurturing it and caring for it. Just that's where your focus should be. Just an FYI. Gemini, I love you guys so much, and please do subscribe to this channel so that you help Astrology Motivation grow. Also, like this video before you click off, and remember on Born Without Boundaries Tarot to come on over and watch your week ahead tarot reading. I love you guys, and I'll talk to you next week.